23 centuries ago, a rich merchant named Zeno watched his ship sink into the sea with his entire fortune inside. In a single afternoon, he went from having everything to having nothing. No money, no trade, no visible future. Finished, ruined, too old to start again. That is what anyone would have said. But that ruined man founded, shortly after, Stoicism, the most practical school of philosophy in history, the one that guided emperors and slaves, and the one that today, 23 centuries later, is going to teach you how to get back up. Because perhaps you too are living through your shipwreck. Perhaps you lost your job, your business, your partner, your savings, your health, or all of it at once. And that voice in your head repeats that it is too late, that there is nothing left to do, that the good life was left behind. That voice lies. And in this video you will discover why. 7 Stoic truths for starting over when you have lost everything. Why while you breathe you can rebuild. Why what you lost was never entirely yours. How to turn the emptiness into a canvas. Exactly where to begin. And the real stories of those who were reborn from their ruins. Breathe deep, because your rebuilding begins right now. The first truth is the simplest and the most powerful. While you breathe, you can rebuild. When you lose everything, your mind tells you it is over, that it is too late, that the good life was left behind. But stop for a moment and observe the only fact that matters. You are still here. You are still breathing. And where there is breath, there is building material. Zeno of Citium was a rich merchant of purple dye, the most expensive merchandise in the ancient world. One day his ship was wrecked near Athens and his entire fortune sank into the sea. He lost absolutely everything. He was around 40 years old, with no house, no trade on dry land. Wandering through Athens, he entered a bookshop, heard about Socrates, and found a new path. Years later, he founded the Stoic school, a philosophy that has been changing lives for 23 centuries. And he said, as an old man, that he made a prosperous voyage the day he was shipwrecked. Think about what that means. The worst day of his life was the door to his true life. He did not know it while his ship was sinking. He knew it afterward, because he kept going. You also cannot see today what your shipwreck is opening. Despair assures you there is nothing on the other side. But despair has no information about the future. It only has fear. The Stoic holds on to the only verifiable thing. I am alive, therefore I can act. Today, when the thought that everything is over appears, answer it with this phrase. While I breathe, I can rebuild. Say it out loud if you need to. It is not an empty consolation. It is the most literal truth there is, and it was the first brick of one of the greatest schools of wisdom in history. The second truth hurts at first and liberates afterward. What you lost was never entirely yours. The Stoics taught that nothing external truly belongs to us. Money, the house, the job, the position, even the people we love, all of it was lent to us by fortune, and what fortune lends, fortune can reclaim whenever it wants. Epictetus said it with an exact image. Never say I have lost it, say I have given it back. Your child died? He has been given back. Your estate was taken from you? It has also been given back. It sounds harsh, but look at what lies beneath. If something was never your definitive property, its loss is not a robbery committed against you. It is the end of a loan you enjoyed. And that turns grief into gratitude. You had what many never have, for as long as it lasted. Seneca, one of the richest men in Rome, prepared himself every month by practicing voluntary poverty. He ate little, slept on the floor, wore rough clothes, and asked himself, is this what I feared so much? He discovered it was not. That he could lose everything and remain whole, because the essential was not in things. When you understand this truth, loss stops being an amputation. You lost the luggage, not your legs. What makes you who you are, your judgment, your will, your capacity to learn and to love, remains intact, because that truly is yours and no storm can sink it. Today, do this exercise. Take what you lost and change the sentence. Instead of it was taken from me, say I gave it back after having enjoyed it. You will notice the closed fist in your chest open a little. That is where rebuilding begins. The third truth is that the emptiness that terrifies you today is, seen with other eyes, a blank canvas. When you lose everything, you also lose something no one mentions. The chains, the obligations that no longer made sense, the image you had to maintain, the routine that was slowly suffocating you, the expectations of others about who you were supposed to be. All of that also sank with the ship. And although no one chooses a shipwreck, the one that has already happened leaves you something extraordinary. The possibility of designing your life from zero, with everything you now know and did not know the first time? Think about it honestly. How many things in your previous life did you keep only out of inertia because undoing them cost too much? The collapse did that work for you. Zeno would never have chosen philosophy if his purple dye trade had kept prospering. He would have died rich and forgotten, being far less than he could be. The sea took his business and gave him his destiny. The Stoics called this a more fatty, loving what happens, not because everything that happens is good, but because everything that happens is material. Marcus Aurelius wrote that fire turns into flame everything thrown into it. That is how your will must be, feeding even on what tried to extinguish it. Emptiness causes vertigo because it has no shape. But that is exactly what freedom means. Nothing is written yet. Today, take a blank sheet of paper, literally, and write this question at the top. If I could design my life from zero, knowing what I know now, what would I build? Do not answer it all. Begin to answer it. That empty canvas you feared so much has just become your greatest privilege. The fourth truth is that you do not start over with a great leap. You start with a small step taken today. After a great loss, the mind makes two opposite mistakes. The first is paralysis. The mountain of rebuilding looks so high that you do nothing. The second is urgency. You want to recover in a month what took years to build. You grow desperate, and you quit. The Stoic path avoids both mistakes with a single rule. Take charge only of the step of today. Epictetus taught that no great achievement happens suddenly, just as a cluster of grapes does not happen suddenly. First the flower, then the fruit, then the ripening. Demanding from the first day the results of the last is fighting against the nature of time. Zeno did not found his school the month after the shipwreck. First he listened, for years, to other teachers. Then he thought. Then he began to speak in a painted colonnade. The Stoa, to anyone who wished to listen, with no building, no money, no illustrious students. The school that changed the world began as a ruined man speaking on a public porch. That is the real scale of beginnings. The right question after losing everything is not how do I recover my whole life? That question crushes you. The right question is what is the smallest action I can complete today? One call, one page, one application, one walk that clears your head. The days go unnoticed, but they add up, and the sum is relentless in your favor if you do not interrupt it. Today, choose one single action so small that failing it is impossible, and do it before the day ends. The new life does not begin on Monday, nor when you are ready. It begins with the next step, and the next step fits inside today. The fifth truth is that your identity is not what you had, and confusing the two is the source of the worst suffering. When someone loses their company, their position, or their wealth, what hurts most is often not the material loss. It is the question that comes afterward. And now who am I? For years you answered with borrowed labels. I am the owner of this. I am the one who earns this much. I am the husband of, the director of, the proprietor of. The shipwreck takes the labels away and leaves you naked before the mirror. And there you discover the question the Stoics considered the most important of all. Epictetus, who had been a slave, literally the property of another man, without even owning his own body, taught that a man is not his circumstances, he is his choices. You are not your house, and that is why you remain whole without it. You are not your title, and that is why your judgment keeps working without it. What you truly are is what no one could take away. Your way of treating people, your word, your courage, your discipline, your capacity to get back up. The Stoics called this character, and they said it is the only true good because it is the only one that does not depend on fortune. Look at Zeno. He lost the identity of a rich merchant and discovered that underneath there was something greater, a teacher, a founder, a sage. The sunken label was covering the real person. Perhaps your loss is doing the same, not destroying you, but unearthing you. Today, describe yourself in 3 sentences without mentioning anything that can be lost. No possessions, no titles, no relationships. What remains on that paper is you. And with that, everything else can be rebuilt. The sixth truth is that adversity does not build you or destroy you. It reveals you. Seneca wrote a sentence that should be engraved on the door of every house. Fire tests gold, and misfortune tests strong men. And he added something surprising. He considered unhappy those who had never gone through any misfortune because they had never had the opportunity to know themselves. Think about it. During the comfortable years, your strength was a theory. You believed you were patient, but nothing tested your patience. You believed you were strong, but nothing weighed on your shoulders. Total loss is the exam that turns theory into knowledge. Now you know, with facts and not assumptions, how much you can endure, what truly sustains you, who stays by your side when you have nothing left to offer, and who disappears. That knowledge is pure gold, and it can only be bought with pain. The Stoics saw every adversity as a sparring partner. The fighter does not grow strong by fighting the weak, Seneca said, but against rivals who demand everything. Fortune has placed before you the toughest rival of your life, and that means you are in the most valuable training of your life. It is not a punishment from the universe. It is the gymnasium of character. And there is something more. When you rebuild, and you will rebuild, you will carry a confidence you did not have before. You will no longer fear losing, because you already lost, and you are still standing. That is the freedom of those who have hit bottom. The ground stopped frightening them. Today, write a list of everything this trial has revealed about you that you did not know: strengths, people, priorities. Read it when you doubt yourself. You did not come out of the fire intact. You came out tested, which is infinitely better. The seventh and final truth is that history is full of rebirths, and yours can be the next one. Zeno lost his fortune at sea and founded a school that is still alive 23 centuries later. But he was not the only one. Epictetus was born a slave, his body marked by his master, and when he was freed, he had absolutely nothing. He founded a school in Nicopolis, and his teachings ended up guiding an emperor. Seneca was exiled to Corsica, a lost island, unjustly accused, stripped of his career and his world. There, instead of fading away, he wrote some of the most luminous pages of Stoicism. And Marcus Aurelius ruled through a devastating plague, floods, constant wars, and the betrayal of his general. His entire reign was starting over again and again, and from that mud came the meditations that still sustain millions of people today. Notice the pattern, because it always repeats. None of them were reborn in spite of the loss. They were reborn through it. The shipwreck, the exile, the slavery, and the plague were not interruptions of their stories. They were the chapters that made all the others possible. Your loss does not have meaning yet, because meaning is not found by looking back. It is built by walking forward. The day Zeno watched his ship sink, it was only a tragedy. The meaning came later, when he manufactured it with his actions. Today you are at exactly that point in the story, in the dark chapter that precedes the turn. So tonight, write the first line of the next chapter. One concrete decision you will make tomorrow. Because in a few years you will tell the story of this period of your life, and it depends on you whether you tell it as the end of something or as the beginning of everything. These 7 truths are the Stoic map for rebuilding a life from the ruins. While you breathe, you can rebuild. What you lost was a loan from fortune, not a part of you. The emptiness that frightens you today is the freest canvas you will ever have. You do not begin with a great leap, but with a small step taken today. Your identity was never in what you had, but in what you choose. Adversity did not come to destroy you. It came to reveal you. And history, from Zeno to Marcus Aurelius, proves that the greatest rebirths are born from the worst shipwrecks. Yours can be the next one, and it begins with the decision you make tonight. If this video has given you strength for the first step, hit the like button and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom every night. Good night, and live well.